Hello, everyone. Um, November is Native American Heritage Month, and I wanted to read something out of this book I'm reading. It's called The Lakota Way: Stories and Lessons for Living Native American Wisdom on Ethics and Character by Joseph M. Marshall III. There's the first section of this book is on humility, and I thought it fit what we have been going through lately. What I'm going to read you kind of ties in a couple of the stories that he had told in the book about a woman called No Moccasins and, of course, Crazy Horse, and then a story of Iktomi and Mato, and these were stories on humility. But this is what Marshall says, Joseph Marshall says in his book. Humility was a virtue that Lakota of old expected their leaders to possess. A quiet, humble person, we believed, was aware of other people and other things. An arrogant, boastful man was only aware of himself. Interestingly, our methods of selecting leaders today seem to favor the arrogant and boastful. The process that we as a nation endure every 4 years is the same that many Native American tribes or nations seem to mimic on a more frequent basis. In Lakota society of the not-too-distant past, however, it was the people who approached the man who possessed the qualities of leadership. One of those qualities was humility. If humility was a virtue important for everyone to practice, it was absolutely necessary for a leader. Humility can provide clarity where arrogance makes a cloud. The last thing the people wanted was someone whose judgment and actions were clouded by arrogance. Several years ago, I watched my uncle, then president of the Rosebud Sioux tribe, diffuse a volatile moment with simple humility. A woman walked into his office and proceeded to ridicule and berate him, insulting him in every way she could think of because she or her family had been denied a service by one of the tribal service agencies. He didn't interrupt her. He waited until she finished her tirade. Then, instead of taking umbrage because he and the office he held had been grievously insulted, he, with his head down, quietly and respectfully replied, "Yes, that is why I have this job, so you can insult me when something goes wrong. Thank you for telling me your problem." The woman could only walk away. She had expected her words to be met with anger because an arrogant person would have reacted in that manner. When there was no anger, no arrogant retort, she didn't know how to handle the humility. Now the process of selecting leaders apparently leaves no room for humility. A man or a woman who believes he or she can be a leader approaches the people by declaring candidacy. In most cases, the candidate is not known to the people and consequently is forced to do at least a little boasting, and certainly a lot of promising. To make matters worse, we are besieged by more than one candidate. This all brings to mind the story of Iktomi the trickster. He goes on to talk about the story of Iktomi and Mato, which is actually a good lesson. Our current method of choosing leaders reminds me too much of Mato's loss at the hands of the clever Iktomi. And although the system functions primarily to perpetuate itself, we shouldn't be prevented from realistically assessing true character of any candidate. Records of achievement are important if they are real and not concocted, like Iktomi's, but so are character and virtue. I'm always leery of anyone who first and foremost touts his or her record of public service. I tend to look at the person. What is he or she without that record? I look for no moccasins and the no moccasins and the crazy horses because I am influenced by quiet dignity and the person who walks through camp with his or her head down, rather than the one who struts. I would vote for a truly humble person. Humility can be the most difficult virtue to learn and maintain. As a society, we reward arrogance and attitude, and our heroes tend to be loud and brash sports figures, millionaires, developers, movie stars, and the like. Those kinds of people who don't know or don't want to know what humility is. But of all the virtues, humility is one that life will teach us if we don't learn it of our own accord. Thank you. I may be sharing more as I go along. Have a wonderful day.